I think talking about this is going to be kind of difficult for me. Not like in like an emotional sense, but I mean a little bit. Supermega has been kind of part of my life since I was a teenager. I started watching their content when they first made their channel. I remember subbing to it when it had 2 videos on it and they had like 3,000 subs. Pretty crazy time. I felt really cool that I was like one of the first people to sub to their channel. And, it's been 7 years and it feels kind of crazy that all this has happened. And for some reason, I'm not really that shocked. I know that a lot of people in their fan base are shocked by this, but I'm not. I remember watching Supermega before they were Supermega, when they were doing things on Syndigo and when they were doing things on Kids with Problems after Daniel passed away. And I had a lot of respect for them as like a 15-year-old boy who saw what they were doing on YouTube and thought their content was really, really interesting at the time. And at that time on YouTube, like the drama scene was really big, and they didn't buy into that. They just kept making sketch comedy or video games and stuff, and it was really cool to see that. I really enjoyed that. But over the years, I kind of fell out of love with their content. I would say after the pandemic, I just kind of stopped watching it because it was just Let's Plays aren't something that I watch anymore, not very often. I will occasionally watch Markiplier play a game. I do like watching Markiplier every once in a while. And that's for like the same nostalgic reason that I would have watched Supermega, but Supermega doesn't really play anything that I would be interested in these days. But you all know the situation with Lex, their channel artist, and Don, their other channel artist. You all know it. That's why you're here. And if you don't know it, I'll give you my best little brief rundown. So Lex Updog is one of their channel artists, or was one of the channel artists, and she was in a relationship kind of with another channel artist of Supermega's known as Don. And if you know anything about Supermega, is that Don isn't technically employed by Supermega. He's kind of an independent artist that just does work for them. And because of this, I think there was a lot of really weird things that occurred between Matt and Ryan, Lex and Don. Don sexually assaulted Lex the first time they ever saw each other in person, if I'm remembering correctly. I'll have a link to her video, it'll be at the very top of the description. It's a 2-hour long video. She just talks about everything. And I think that there is no reason to ever believe that anything that she says is false, because she shows text messages, and given what Matt and Ryan have said about some of this stuff and how they've acted about it, it's pretty clear that this is true for the most part. There were a couple of parts where I was kind of like, I don't know if that's really substantiated at all, but it probably is true. And she had a lot of struggles with them because of what happened between her and Don. Matt and Ryan were very standoffish to her. They were very not kind about it. When telling Matt that she was sexually assaulted, Matt's first response was to say something about the company and how this was going to be bad for the company. Not even trying to console his friend, who, at the time she thought they were her friends, but rather cared about the company's image above all else, claiming that Supermega was his magnum opus. And guys, I don't think you need me to tell you this, but this is kind of a sad magnum opus, okay? We have trucking videos, and we have a podcast. I guess a couple of sketch comedy videos, yeah, full. As well as this controversy, it turns out one of their video editors had just been caught stealing 90 grand from them. 90K. And then another person who worked for them named Leighton, I apologize, was let go, and he came out and said a bunch of stuff about them as well. He said that he was called, he had a lot of gay jokes made about him at the office, that Matt and Ryan would make N-word jokes all the time at the office, and just rather inappropriate stuff. And Leighton made a live stream about it as well. So there's been a lot of controversy around Supermega in the past few days. It just all seems to have crumbled down. But I have a lot of memories with them. I have a lot of memories with watching their content, and to see all of this go down has been pretty sad. And I read their statement. They had a tweet that they had talked about Leighton, and they deleted it. The tweet's gone. You can't find it anymore. But they made a tweet about Leighton, and then they deleted it. And it was pretty much saying that everything Leighton was saying was false, and there was a lot of missing context, etc. And I think that that's pretty indicative of damage control. The tweet was damage control at the end of the day. Basically, they were claiming that Leighton was cool with it. That was fine. And to be honest, that might have been the case. Leighton might have said it was cool. But personally, I can tell you how awkward this is. When your boss is making jokes about you, it's pretty hard to just say, hey, can you stop that? Because that person's signing your paycheck. Right? That person's responsible for your income. And when it's a small business like Supermega, there's no HR. There's no labor union. That's not going to exist in a tiny company like that. So who the hell are you gonna go to when you're being assaulted by your boss? Who you gonna go to? Or being, I guess, harassed. Sorry, not assaulted. A little different. But basically, because of all of this, Supermega has seen a massive drop in subscribers. You might have seen it earlier. We are now down to 669,000 subscribers. They were up at 1.01 million a few days ago. This is pretty sad. And you know what, boys? I think I'm done. I'm out. Just one of many people to quit. And here's something that I'll say too. If it turns out that none of this is true and that Lex was lying the whole time, despite the fact that she showed receipts, I'll resub. But I don't think that this is a channel that I would want to support. Luckily for me, I never bought any merch. Thought about it. I never bought anything of theirs, so I never like directly financially supported them other than through ads. And hey, you know, sometimes I use ad blockers, so get fucked. And I want to talk briefly a little bit now about parasocial relationships and how important it is that you be realistic about the people that you watch and the people that you enjoy watching. So here's something that I could tell you. I could have told you that this shit about them being kind of homophobic and kind of racist, could have told you this shit years ago. Way back in the day, if we go way back here, let me scroll back through their YouTube content, guys. If we go way back here, I'll show you the podcast episode because I thought it was like one of the funniest podcasts in the world. In this podcast, somebody in the podcast, and we don't know for sure who, drops the N-bomb. And in this series too, it was either this episode or this episode, somebody drops the N-bomb. This episode, they edited out the N-word in it. There is no longer an N-word in this. They took it out of there, and probably for good reason. But they were making these jokes years ago. This is stuff that is not new. This was 6 years ago that they did this, okay? This isn't new stuff. They've been doing it for a long, long time, okay? And based on some of the jokes that they would make in their podcast, which were, you know, they were kind of mocking Republicans, but saying Republican talking points, and then base that with some of the other videos they have made on like kids with problems that are now deleted, and some other stuff like that. It's pretty clear that these kinds of jokes using the N-word and whatnot, this was not, oh Jesus, this was not out of their vocabulary. Sorry about that, folks. I had a little oopsies. This was not out of their vocabulary. This is stuff that they did. And so something that needs to be really emphasized is how important it is that you stay realistic with the people you watch, because if you had a really emotional reaction to this, like a really emotional reaction where you felt devastated to learn this kind of stuff, I think that says more about you than it does anybody else. And I'm not saying that you're a bad person, but hopefully this is a lesson to you on how you handle online figures. They're not your friends, okay? I'm not your friend. I'm not really an online figure, but I'm not your friend. I make politic videos, you know. I don't want to be friends with anybody. And the relationship between fans and creators should always be very distant. When it comes to Supermega, as somebody who really liked their content, this is severely disappointing, and it really hurts to hear all of this stuff. It hurts in the way that, like, these are people that I looked up to when I was a kid, because I was a teenager. I was 15, and these guys would have been like 19, 20, right? They were bigger than me. They were out in LA. They were living their lives. I remember being a teenager and being like, yo, I could live in LA. That'd be cool. And like, do you Let's Player stuff. And then like, that didn't last long. That was a short phase. Anyway, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. And if you guys have experiences with Supermega, please share them in the comment section below. I used to watch their podcast like religiously, like all the time. I used to get grounded from my parents, and I would go, like, they would turn off my Wi-Fi, and I would go to the gas station across town, not even like a couple blocks away, to be honest, and I would fucking download podcasts of theirs off the gas station Wi-Fi, and then come home and listen to them while I did homework, while I did anything, while I played a game, or while I did chores. I would do it all the time because that's just, I had to do it, you know. So I have a lot of fond memories with them, and it's just, it sucks to see it turn like this. It really, really does suck. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys all in the next video. You should unsubscribe to Supermega. Bye-bye.